Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside Kharkov battles, before and after Fall Blau. This is a game designed by Greg Blanchett and published by Compass Games. Recently I did a video on Fall Blau, and that was because I had finally gotten a copy after waffling for a while. The Compass announcement that it was going out of print really prompted me to hurry up and go out and grab a copy. Also, I knew that Kharkov Battles was coming out, and I wanted to get that to have along with Kharkov Battles because they do coincide. This is its own standalone game, but it also does expand on Fall Blau with some additional stuff. So let's take a look at the back of the box and see what this game is all about. Kharkov Battles uses the Fall Blau basic rules to cover the second and third battles of Kharkov. System basics have stacking at 3 units per hex, with larger units, mainly German divisions and Soviet Corps, given combat ratings which pull a strength chit for combat. Typically, only one unit with a strength chit may have combat out of a hex, along with all smaller units. Movement includes mobile assaults for mechanized units during certain situations. Combats key off the defender's terrain and use column shifts for extras like air support, combined arms, fortifications, etc. Combat results have some mandatory step losses, but the rest are player's choice on taking step loss or retreating. Advances after combat are along the path of retreat for non-mech units, but mech or cav units may deviate. Support points are used to allow German supply to reach units for mechanized movement and attacks during a turn. Supply is just a general trace, while support for Axis attacks is traced simply with the number of hexes to a headquarter unit and then a number of hexes to a road, which leads to a source. And we have components: a 22 by 34 inch winter themed main map, a 22 by 34 inch Fall Blau extension map, a 20 by 24 inch map with 19mm hexes, 3 counter sheets, 1 32-page rulebook, 9 player aid cards, and 1 10-sided die. And the rating is medium complexity. Time scale is 1 turn equals 3 days. Map scale is 1 hex equals 6.5 miles. Unit scales, division, corps, brigades, and battalions. It is for 2 to 6 players as well as solitaire. Solitaire suitability is high, and the average playtime is from less than 2 hours up to 80 hours for the grand campaign. And you can see an example of the counters and the maps up here. So let's take a look inside and see what we get. We got our D10, the rule and scenario book, the player aid cards, and there are a bunch. The counter sheets wrapped for you so they don't fall out, and then the maps. So let's set up the maps and take a closer look at the game. Now we'll take a look at the maps that come with the game. There are 3 different maps that come with the game. The first 2 we're going to look at are going to be used for Kharkov battles. The third one is going to be used for a grand campaign for Fall Blau. Here we've got the KH map. This is going to be just like we saw in Fall Blau, a smaller manageable map that drills into one area, and it'll be easily manageable on most any table. So you don't have to worry about needing a lot of space for this. Same for a KB. It's a little bit bigger obviously, but still manageable on most tables. Then we get to the KB map, which we talked about just a moment ago. This is going to be the winner map, and it's going to be lengthwise. So a little bit more table space is needed, but not a tremendous amount. So it should be manageable on most every table. At the bottom, we have the Operation Start turn record track, and then a breakdown of all the data inside of each of the boxes for the turn record track. Then you have the campaign support table at the bottom as well. And then the final map is Map D, and this is going to be used in Fall Blau. There's also going to be a future scenario that Greg is looking to put into Paper Wars, where you'll be able to get a 4th scenario as well as be able to join both Fall Blau and Kharkov battles into one giant game, which will last 90 turns. So great game for a con when you have a lot of time and a lot of space. Next, we'll take a look at the terrain effects chart. It lists out all the different types of terrain along with an illustrated example of each. Then you have freeze weather, the effects on non-mech and mech units, and then the combat effects listed out for you on the right-hand side. Then we have the Fall Blau Grand Campaign turn record track, as well as the second Kharkov turn track, and it'll give you a breakdown of what each of these items is inside the turn record track, and then the Grand Campaign support table on the right-hand side. Same information that you see on the KB map. Then we have the Soviet status sheet, which gives you boxes for permanent dead, mech units, rifle divisions, at-base air points, and those that are available for sortie, as well as a listing of the different symbols that are on the counters and an explanation of what each of those is. On the right-hand side, you have a breakdown of how to read the counters for both the German and the Soviets. And at the bottom, we have the Soviet command and control table. Then we have the prepared assault table and the breakout table. Then we have the mobile assault table along with the applicable die roll modifiers, and then the attrition table along with the mobile assault procedure on the right-hand side. And on the last one, we have the German status sheet, which gives us the victory point track, replacement and support track, and boxes for breakdown pool, at base air points, and available for sortie. Next, we have the setup sheets. This is for 3rd Kharkov for the Axis setup. Then the Axis setup for the 2nd Kharkov battle. And lastly, for the Axis, the setup and reinforcement schedule for Operation Star. Then we have a setup sheet for the January campaign for the Axis, as well as the reinforcements for the Fall Blau campaign. Then we have the Soviet setup sheet for 3rd Kharkov, 2nd Kharkov, and the Soviet setup and reinforcement schedule for Operation Star. Then we have the Soviet setup for the January campaign. And the last one is the Soviet reinforcements for the Fall Blau campaign. Now we'll take a look at the counter sheets that come with the game. We have the Axis forces on the left and the Soviet forces on the right. And just like you saw in Fall Blau, some of these counters will have letters on the left-hand side for the combat factor, and that's where you'll have to do the chit poll to see what the variable combat factor will be based on that chit poll. On the second sheet, we have the remainder of the Soviet forces, some administrative counters, and then the variable strength counters that you'll be drawing to see what those strengths are for those units with letters instead of combat factors. Then on the last sheet, we have Fall Blau extra counters, as well as some administrative counters. Now we'll take a look at the rules. This is a 24-page full-color rulebook covering both the rules and the scenarios. The inside of the front cover, we have the table of contents listing out the rules and their associated page numbers. Then we get to the introduction, and there's an explanation of the game vision. It's highlighted in blue for a reason, because this game uses pretty much the same rules as Fall Blau with some changes. Those changes are highlighted in blue. So throughout the rules, as we're looking at this, anything highlighted in blue is a change for Kharkov battles as opposed to the rules for Fall Blau. Then we get to the key game terms. Unit steps, command range, armor bands, counter examples, sequence of play starts on page 4, and that's all broken down for you along with the changes for Kharkov battles. Air power, air interdiction, stacking, stacking and combat, zones of control and movement, zones of control and combat, zones of control and supply. Then we get into all your breakdown for supply, support, movement, special tactical movement, overruns, mobile tactical movement example illustrated, and then you have the prepared assault, multiple unit and multi-hex combat, attack determination, terrain effects on combat, combined arms bonus. Then we have an attack determination example here illustrated for you. Encirclement bonus, combat resolution, retreats, advances after combat. Then we get into the Soviet command on page 13. Soviet effectiveness, dynamic units, replacements, reinforcements, man-made terrain and features, environmental effects, and then we get to the scenarios starting on page 16. First one is Operation Star. Second is 2nd Kharkov. And then the final scenario is 3rd Kharkov. Then we have the credits, and that covers all the rules for Kharkov battles. Then we get into the Fall Blau extras, which includes the errata for Fall Blau that has been caught over the years since the game first released in 2016. You have your play rates and setup charts, your grand campaign explanation here on page 21, how to have the grand campaign, as well as the victory conditions. And then a note here at the bottom saying, inclusion of map D in this package will allow owners access to a future 4th Kharkov scenario, as well as instructions for combining the two games and allowing play to a full 90 turns, which could possibly appear in a later Paper Wars issue. So pretty awesome to have that option. Then we have Soviet fortress regions, variant counters, replacement counters, realistic Axis replacement schedule, and then the January campaign on page 22. And then on the back of the rulebook, we have the expanded sequence of play. And that is a look at everything you get inside of Kharkov battles, before and after Fall Blau. This is a game designed by Greg Blanchett and published by Compass Games. Like I said, I just did a video on the channel for Fall Blau. Now we got Kharkov battles. So you can play each individually, or you can combine the two into a grand campaign. And there's going to be even more content in the future, according to Greg. So that's really fantastic. Top-notch quality production, just what we've come to expect from Compass, and it's just going to be a lot of fun playing this game because Fall Blau has been very well received, and now it's the hot ticket. Everybody's trying to find it because it's out of print. But now this one is a hot seller too because people want it. They don't want it to go out of print. Although I'm sure that Compass will reprint this one if it goes out of print pretty quick. And hopefully with enough interest, maybe we'll see a reprint of Fall Blau in the future. But overall, if you're an East Front fan, this is a no-brainer. Pick this up. Fun system, really interesting to play, especially being that you can play the big monster scenario if you want to, or you can just drill down and play the individuals, which are playable in just a few hours. So pretty cool game system and a lot of fun. I love that variability in the combat chits because you don't know what you're going to get, your strength markers, I should say. I like that in combat. It gives that friction and that just that concern when you're getting into combat, whether you're going to win or not and what you're going up against. And I like that. It's not just simple mathing it out. It's a lot more fun when you have that in there. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.